And cargo, we're not going to put any on. TWR, thrust to weight, 0.72 for orbital maneuvering is just fine. And fairing and staging. So, let's take this over to the VAB. And let's put a booster under this. I'm seeing the comment, it might be difficult keeping these turned towards the sun. During our flight, yeah. But once we're in orbit, we'll always keep those pointed to the sun. I don't think it needs that much. It's not going to spend too much time detached from things. You know, like, it'll spend most of its time just docked to the... You know what's one thing I just realized that probably this thing should have? Is some form of abort system. I'm wondering, because we are playing with Kerbalism with its lovely habit of, you know, doing nasty things to us. Blowing up engines and the like. What if... Oh, I'm on radial. I don't want to be... Let's put this on RX. There, four-way symmetry. What if we just... Oh, that looks absolutely god-awful. Again. Okay, let's keep it on radial then. If you're going to be that much of a pain. What I'm thinking of are just a pair of Separatrons. Might want to tuck these in a little bit. And I'm curious what kind of thrust to weight this gives me. Might not be enough. That gives you a TWR of 1.23, which isn't ideal. I'm thinking of something that if the engine exploded on the booster, this would fire and take our Kerbals away. Which may or may not work. But we're going to give it a go. Okay, now what I should use is looking at the torque on stage numero 1. It's pretty bad. So let's see if we can play with the position of these. That is reducing torque. What if I move them this way? That's increasing the torque, so I don't want to do that. So we'll take the other ones. So I'm looking at the torque numbers right there. It's now at 10.26 kilonewtons. Now if I take these guys and slide them inwards, that's making the torque better. That's making the torque very good. There we go. I saw a point. I see 0.05 kilonewtons of torque. And to be honest, I don't mind that they're tucked right in there like that. Kind of wouldn't have minded doing the same thing with these other guys, but I don't think that's going to get me what I want. Oh, and of course the center of mass is high on this thing because of the way these are. I don't think that's terrible for something we'll probably never use, but I don't think it's a bad thing to add on. So the idea of these is just simply push the craft out of the way. We still have 353 meters per second at delta V, which is perfectly fine. All it's got to do is get to the station. I think so. Okay, we're going to do that. Okay, let's put on a booster. Yeah, I could use it as my part of the descent burn too. These Separatrons to make them not completely a waste of time. If, you know, everything goes the way it's supposed to go. All right, we need to put on a decoupler. That's the one. And let's see. Okay, let's get in some structure. We got to build a bit of a tower here. And I'm thinking this thing as well, I want it to be able to... this is going to be the thing that's going to get it into orbit. So I'm thinking... Let's put another structural bit on there. I'm giving it its own probe body so that after it gets it into orbit, it can detach and fly back down to the surface on its own. That's the idea. Put on some reaction wheels like this. And yeah, and then a fairing. Fairing's going to come out way out. Wide as it'll go, pretty much. And then up. And start to come in. The big fairing. There we go. And we will put that up to 6 pieces, really jack up the force, and put on the clamshell deploy. And this is going to need some struts in there too, for sure. I think. Kind of hold this all together. 4-way symmetry. There. Oh, whoa, why is one of them like through the roof? Let's try that again. Okay, how's that look on this side? That's okay. Okay, so there's our thingy. Now, what I want to do is give this thing an upper stage. Let's take the fairing out of the staging diagram. And this is something that should have in the order of about, I would say, 1,000 meters per second of delta V. And I already was thinking of a fuel can. I just got to find the right one. Okay, let's arrange these by mass. Bigger ones at the bottom. That one. That's not the one. That one. There we go. And we'll stick on... Start with the... Well, that's too... Yeah, that's too much thrust. I don't need that much thrust. I only need thrust in around 0.9 for this. So we'll go a little smaller. We have the 400 kilonewton. Oh, maybe the skiff might be a good one. Maybe the going 2.5 might be a better call. Oh yeah, that's lighter than that. Oh, I also got the cheetah. That's still that's way too much thrust that I need. What about the cheetah? 0.8, but quite a lot of fuel. Do I have a smaller fuel tank that can do that transition? I'm not quite sure I do. I have this one. Is that? No, that's a really small one. We can just take some of the fuel out. There's nothing wrong with that. All I need this to be about 1,000. There we go. 0.95 thrust to weight, 1,000 meters per second at delta V. There we go. Nothing wrong with that. Here, let's get rid of the checklist for now. So just, oh, I hit the wrong button. That one. The cheetah, yeah, okay, that's looking okay. And now we need to booster underneath that. Now we're at a weight of about 13.4 tons, but I already got 1,000 meters per second of the upper part of it's already taken care of. I just need the bottom part. So I don't need to get something as big as what a lot of these are like. A lot of these have a lot of radius. I should be able to just... Here. What happens if I... Okay, that looks stupid. But if I take off this and keep the decoupler there, take the shroud off. Actually, wait, put the fairing back. Okay, don't need that reaction. Okay. Take the shroud off because I just don't like. We'll close this part in with a fairing. How do we? Where is it here? Engine shroud. Well, there it is. Okay, and we'll put on a 1.875 meter fairing, and then that should be able to just go straight up here. Close that off nice. Take that out of the staging diagram as well. We won't stage this. This will just be like a cowling. That looks okay. And that goes underneath. Oh, that, I don't know why that's like that. There we go. All right, we got engines galore. I just want this bottom engine. And then that engine will go... Oh, the staging's a mess. That one. And those will go here. There we go. Okay. That seems all to be sensible. That's a lot. Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine for Delta V. 3,666 meters per second. That'll get me into orbit. Oh, but I do not have a lot of thrust. And that is pretty darn close to the top. And I don't think... No, not quite there. But that is an easy fix. We can put on... Because that was just a skipper engine. We can step her up to the mainsail engine. That is plenty of thrust and still plenty of Delta V by the time we get to the top. No, that's the vehicle. But we can get bigger tanks on this. So, yeah. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to take this. This is an old boot. Take off all these little tanks. Put on just one big orange guy. That's 4,271 meters per second of Delta V. That's clearly a lot. We can take out fuel. There are 3,766 meters per second. Oh, wait a minute. I'm counting the orbiter in that. I don't want to count the orbiter, silly. Should be looking at the second number. There we go. 3,759 meters per second in these two stages, and then the orbiter. That'll do fine. Thrust is a lot, so that should be fine. I think, heck, everything was orange. Let's make her orange. Get the boat tail on this. There we go. This orange. We're going orange. 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 Ooh, that's very orange. Okay. Silver on the top. There we go. Got a smart part there. I'm thinking we're onto something. Okay. Let's get on some launch clamps. There we go. Got some extra stages here. Boomity boomity boom. That should all be good. Thrust to weight is way too high on the bottom end, but we have the mighty, whoops, it's a little too far down. I've always gone with 1.33 for my launch thrust, so we'll stick with that. I'm thinking this is pretty close. So, action groups. Action groups 5 is going to be for the fairing. So deploy that. I also did put in an abort system, so we should, on abort, we will deploy this fairing. And we will stage this decoupler right here. Decouple. And we will fire off these engines. We'll test this. Activate. Oh, and the ones at the other, there's other ones here too, not just 2 of them. Activate those. I don't think this will quite work on the pad, but I'm going to try it anyway. I think if I did a pad abort, I think the Kerbals are actually in trouble because this will depend on getting away from the booster and then gliding to the surface. I guess I could put parachutes on it, but I don't want to. Parachutes are for wimps. I'm thinking this is a thing. I think I put 1 for the, yeah. Okay, let's do a couple of tests. Let's do, no, I'm gonna go sans fin. Someone's Lab Studio saying any fins on the bottom. I'm gonna try it without the fins. I like it look without fins, and if it loses control on the test, then I'll put fins on. But I'm gonna try it first without fins. Let's do a quick look at the checklist, make sure, whoops, I keep hitting that because the 2 icons are too close to being the same. That's the checklist. I did play with the fairing deploy, and the staging should be good. Do. Yes. So I'm ready for a test launch. So save this and simulate and sure. I don't know why I hesitated there. I'm worried. Okay. And this first part, I'm actually very dubious about whether this is going to work. I'm going to do a pad abort. So that's going to activate the abort system, which should lift this off, but not with any great speed. And because it won't have much speed, it won't have much glide potential, and I think that will just lead to a crash, but we are in simulation mode, so... Oh. We didn't let go at all. What? Oh, oh no! Well, they lived. I don't think these Separatrons have enough thrust to weight in the atmosphere to, well, obviously, to lift it up. That was not very graceful. Okay, let's restart the simulation from launch, and we'll actually do a launch. Okay, so maybe the abort system requires some tweaks. Can we put that gently? Oh, why do I not have my KOS? I must not have put in my boot thing. Okay, let's switch to 0. I didn't put in my boot file. So I'll have to make sure to do that. Okay, let's run the launch script. 0, 80, and there's always a third letter I have for my launch script, which most of the time I put in an N, which stands for normal. And it's not normal in the sense of, I didn't put a period at the end. It's not normal in the sense of, you know, perpendicular to, like the normal vector. It's N for normal, as in that's the normal way in which we launch. But I also can put in an I. There we go. And I stands for inverted, and the only difference is once it starts to pitch over, you'll see it. There it goes. It does a roll. See how it's rolling? And that's so that the craft is in an inverted attitude. As it pitches over, the craft will be upside down. That's, I think spaceplanes look, well, spaceplanes with boosters under them, like shuttles, kind of look better going up that way. I'm sure it would fly perfectly fine the other way, but that's what that is. All right, so this is just a test to see if this thing can get into orbit. That's what this is about. And I will work on the abort system some other time. So, yeah. Oh, there we go. I like it when it's like this slow. It's just like you get a little bit higher and all of a sudden all the wires, most of the wires disappear. This is the Puff 2. All right. And yeah, I'm noticing, oh no, it's tracking pretty good. Okay. If your ship is, it's ideal if the ship is into that prograde vector. That's the ideal thing. It can be off a little bit like it is right here, but if you find the prograde vector is falling faster than your ship is pitching over, more thrust usually fixes that up. But to be honest, I think it's okay. I don't think it's a big deal. Okay, so the script just reduced the thrust. We are now at a thrust to weight ratio of 1.1. That's just to improve the efficiency once you get up to, I think it did it at 20 kilometers. Honestly, can't remember if it's 20 or 25. All right. So far, so good, though. And I like these two-stage rockets. You know, one big booster that does most of the work, and then a single upper stage. And once you get the engines for it, I know it's fun having all the radial stuff, you know, SRBs and things flying off, but to be honest, this is I think, a little more elegant. All right, 40 kilometers, locks itself to the prograde vector. Prograde vector is about a minute ahead and holding, which is good. And we should be losing this stage in just a few seconds. There it goes. Now we're on to the Cheetah engine. Adjusted the thrust to weight to 0.9 now, so it's a little less acceleration, but it actually upped the throttle because we're on a much weaker engine. Oh, nice fairing separation. I'm happy with that. This looks great. Okay, we're just looking to see if this thing can get into orbit. I'm pretty confident after that. Yes, this is the, I was hearing the talk about what's going on right now. This is the KRASH simulator. That's KRASH with a K. And you can simulate your launches before you launch them for real. Of course, in-game, you could always revert back and say it was a test, but I like this because it separates cleanly when I'm testing and when I'm going to do the mission for real. So now if things go wrong, it's just a test. But once I'm not in simulation mode, I hesitate. It has to be something the game, some sort of crackety nonsense for me to revert back after that. Okay, we have hit our target apoapsis of 80 kilometers. Let's get her into space. There's still 562 meters per second left in this stage. So I do not think fuel is going to be an issue. I always budget 3,600 meters per second to get into orbit, but I always use much less than that. There it is. Oh, I love it. It's it's a cute little guy. Cute little guy, but functional nonetheless. I can have 6 Kerbals in here. And that is my most efficient, or my most practical LKO ferry yet. Okay, what do we got? It's only 124 meters per second to finish off. Like I said, 462 meters per second left in there. Obviously, that's not going to be a problem. So we're going to terminate this simulation. We're going to do it. We're going to go to the station. Nicey nice.